So, this is a topic I just kind of I wanted to talk about Tron because we didn't talk about the trailer when it came out. We weren't really on YouTube doing anything. We weren't really filming. I'm very excited for this. I'm a big Tron fan, but I will acknowledge that there is a lot of inconsistencies. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I sort of fell in love with the film for its art aesthetic and the look of the films. But I've tried to look into it more and more, and there's not much there in the case of the lore and stuff. And I love the original. I think the original is a fantastic, fun film. There's some people that say it doesn't hold up. I think it does. There's no film that really looks like that type of style.
Yeah.
Of course, the second one looks even better with the advancements in technology. Callum, that film came out about 14, 15 years ago. Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy, yeah,
Yeah,
2012, wasn't it? Was it
yeah,
or 2011? It was 11.
yeah. I think
14 years ago.
yeah. One
I
thing I
remember
just
being
want to
sat next to you in high school. You talking to me about Tron? He was going, "You seen Tron Legacy?"
in the bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. While you were, I don't even know what you were doing. But yeah, no. I just wanted to talk about this because it's more of a. Is this franchise gonna survive any longer? Because we had the original back in 1982. It didn't make too much money. It sort of, I believe, it actually broke even. So just having a look see here. So it had a budget of 17 million, and it made back 50 million at the box office.
Oh,
Again,
that's yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
good.
I did all right.
Not amazing, but
For what 1982 as well. That's
1982, yeah.
that's pretty good for 1982.
Yeah. Um, and it was kind of shelved for a couple of years. Disney didn't really do anything with the IP. It was just kind of sat there, and I can't remember the reason, but they decided let's go back to this franchise. I feel like there's something there. I don't know who said that, but
I
but
think it was Jesus himself.
probably.
Yeah.
But they went all out. They went crazy on the marketing. They gave the film a budget of 170 million, which was pretty big
That's
for a
big for 20. So 2010 when that would have been being made, probably.
yeah. I
That's
think
big for
it released in
2010.
2010, if I'm not wrong.
You think?
I
Or
think
was
it
it?
did. Yeah.
Let's have a quick.
You have a Google, but just going on to what I was saying, so that had a budget of 170 million.
Yeah.
Disney were marketing the heck out of it. They were pushing everything they could. There was promos, there was, action figures, there was everything for it. The game, a pretty well developed game, came out. It was a movie tie-in, but it was pretty good.
I miss movie tie-in games.
I do as well at times, but it was pretty good, and they did a show, an animated show as well. But it was a bit of a disaster for the Tron franchise. It got shelved again, unfortunately, for another 15 years. That is because
Yeah.
the Tron Legacy only made roughly 400 million at the box office, which is okay, but the amount of money that Disney put into it, this is 170 million is just for the film, and then the marketing's normally, like
Yeah.
what Callum normally says to me, is double that. But it feels like with this they put even more into it, so I
They
feel
went
like they
extra.
maybe. I don't even think they broke even on this. I actually think they lost money on the Tron
I think they did as
IP
well.
at that time. So it was sad because I really liked the second film. I prefer the first one, but I do like the aesthetic and I liked the direction they were taking it. The issue is there was a planned sequel for Tron Legacy, Callum. Apparently it was called Tron Ascension. And it was supposed to be out I think it was like 2 or 3 years after Legacy.
Yeah.
This is not confirmed, but it sounds pretty real to me because there was quite a bit of marketing. There was a short film where they brought back Ram. Do you remember Ram from the first film?
No, it's been many years. Like I were probably like 8 or 9 when I saw the first Tron, and I haven't watched it since.
You need to
Like,
go
that
back
is
and watch
that
it.
is a dad. That is like a film that my dad made me watch. It was like, and
It's
don't get me wrong,
it's
I
still
liked it.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. I would still recommend it as a film today. It's a very fun adventure story in like the digital world, and it holds up for a film of that caliber.
I remember it being quite scary when I was younger.
End of line. But for me, I just want to talk about this new film, Tron Ares, just briefly because the film did pretty well for a first trailer. It got like 10 million in the first
Yeah.
24 hours. And it's still steadily growing. I believe it's only at 12 million now, but there's clearly a bit of an outcry for this. You know, the legacy films. I think Tron had a cult following, but it was such a minor amount of people that knew about it. And then Tron Legacy came out, and unfortunately, it did flop. But still, people see, more people have been introduced to this franchise, and it's clear that there's a fandom for it. It's not
Yeah.
as big as an Avengers film or Star Wars or anything like that, but there's clearly people there, and
Can
the amount of love for it as well, that when the film released, after the film released, it's there, it's everywhere. I can't think of anyone that's said, "Oh, this is terrible." But you saying,
I just want to say as well, you were talking about like they shelved it for so long. I think one thing we can blame for that is Disney's purchase of Star Wars and being like, well, we've got this sci-fi franchise,
yeah,
the biggest one in the world, so we're going to do that and we're going to completely neglect this little gem we've got here.
yeah,
So definitely it's good to do with box office and everything, but maybe you'd have thought you'd have seen one like 10 years later or something like that. But the fact that it's been 15, it's definitely. I think not all, but another factor in it is like we've got Star Wars.
100%, and I
Yeah.
agree with that. And there's a lot of things pushing against this franchise. I completely get that, but it's still, man. Like I've always just enjoyed them, and I remember going to see Legacy, I believe, in IMAX when it came out, and it was just awesome. Now, being realistic, do you see this film, Callum, being successful? Because clearly there's a lot of people that are loving that trailer. I know it's only 10 million views, which is not really much in today's standards.
I
But when
tell
you look
you,
at the original, when you look at the Tron Legacy trailer, that's got about 15 million views on Disney's account, and that's after being released for 15 years. I'm just
yeah.
basing it off of very small things here. What do
So
you think?
I think, as with all movies, we're going into the Thunderbolts in 2 weeks, and that's not tracking too well for a good opening weekend. But looking at it, I think the one thing that will carry it, the same with this, is positive word of mouth. You get a film with good word of mouth where people keep going back and keep going to see it. Look at Top Gun Maverick. That is the perfect word of mouth movie. Look how much more money that made than, obviously, 30 odd years, nearly 40 years apart. But look how much money that made compared to the original. It made over $1 billion, Top Gun Maverick, and that's because that film was so good. And everyone could watch it and enjoy it. And I'm kind of getting this vibe from Tron Ares as well. They're not, isolating people and going, let's go into the computer. It's more of like that world's coming to our world. And I feel like that'd be a bit more relatable to people as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just seeing stuff like that in the real world, I think is more interesting. Whereas you get something like Tron Legacy and it's all just, I love the aesthetic like you, but some people see it and just see all these computer generated images. Might be a bit off putting to them, but the fact you stick it in the real world and stuff like that, more people might be like, oh, this looks interesting. And
I just
again,
want to
positive word of
say
mouth will carry it.
Tron Legacy looks amazing still to this day. I think it
I think
still
it does as
holds
well.
up massively.
Apart from, let's talk about the one thing. Let's talk about the one thing.
Yes, the Jeff
DH,
Bridges,
Jeff Bridges.
who is supposed to be a computer program. Now, I forgive this film a lot because I remember seeing it as a kid and I loved it, and it fooled me as a kid. I had no idea. Like I thought, wow, that's how do they do that? But obviously, with a as I got older and I have a much more keen eye for these things, I like to think at least, you definitely see it was very early days for the de-aging technology, but
Yeah.
it was a good stepping stone for what we got in the future. There's so many things that have utilized it and done it better and improved and upgraded it. So, I will commend it for being a stepping stone. I defend it though still because the movie's about being in a computer and it's all digitized,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the look of the film as well was very it was very clean. Everything it was kind of like it's kind of felt like it felt like a film aesthetically directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's got that very clean, the colors, the way they sort of like shade the colors in. That's the vibe I get from it. So I could forgive it. Like I say, it was done performance wise. It was done very, very well. But another thing to note as well is with Tron Legacy, it doesn't have the strongest story. No, it has the best visuals. I think that might be beaten by Tron Ares, but they need to get the story right. And I think you're right on that, Colin. Word of mouth is that because people are. Yeah, you can tie them in with some great aesthetics and
Yeah.
bringing them into the real world. But if you haven't got a story that's going to be gripping and going to really tie people in and make them want to watch it, then you kind of fucked. Then really,
Yeah. No,
but
exactly. Look, we're living in a time where we are more connected than ever, and people's opinions are out there. And some things where people might go, "Oh, I'm not gonna go see that." You hear 5 people at work say it's fucking brilliant, then they go, "I might go see it this weekend." Then, if they're saying it's good, so I think that's why word of mouth has only got better and better as we've moved on with the age of social media. But yeah, who's directing this? I know it's starring Jared Leto.
actually, the cast is quite stacked. You do have
It's got Evan Peters in as well, doesn't it?
it does have Evan Peters. He is playing Julian
Big,
Dillinger, who is either the son or probably the grandson of Edward Dillinger from the first Tron film. But funny enough, Cillian Murphy was in Tron Legacy as, I think again, as Edward Dillinger's son. So he still worked at the company
Cillian Murphy
in the
were in
film.
Tron Legacy. He fucking was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
He
very
was.
briefly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I seen something where he was actually his casting thing in the credits was taken out or something like that. So I don't think he's officially cast in the film, but he's for some reason, I don't know why, but he is definitely in the film at the start.
Yeah.
But just one thing I want to mention, because you spoke about Top Gun Maverick, which did very, very well at the box office. It's kind of funny that you mentioned it because the director of Tron Legacy, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was his first directing role, I guess you could say. So it's Joseph Kosinski. I think.
What did he do? Did he do Maverick?
I believe so, yeah.
Uh,
So, yeah. You have. Yeah, it must have been Tron Legacy because that's all that I'm seeing here. So, same director as Top Gun Maverick, Joseph, which is pretty cool if you ask me, and it definitely shows in with the visuals. He might have directed Oblivion as well if you remember that film.
I'm not really a fan of Oblivion.
No, I'm not either. I think it's not that great. Visually, again,
Yeah.
amazing, but yeah, it's not that great of a film. But yeah, just funny that you mentioned that. I thought I'd drop that in there. I don't know who's directing Tron Ares. Let's have a look. See, I keep typing Tron area.
It's in your area. Hot Tron's in your area.
I'm not even going to attempt to try pronounce that name, but he has done
Jackie and Ronin.
Yeah. Let's see what he's done.
Maleficent 2.
I know he did one of the
Pirates of
last
the
Pirates of
Caribbean.
Caribbean films, yeah, which apparently wasn't
Yeah.
that great.
Well, no, I think he's done a
Um,
few of them.
yeah, I think I'm more inclined of bringing back Joseph, not Joseph, yeah, Joseph Kosinski. He's definitely grown as a director. You know, Top Gun Maverick was awesome. But he's another film, I believe, F1. I think he's directing that as well.
Oh yeah,
Um,
with Brad Pitt.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm. I feel like Disney are gonna look at this now and be like, look, if this flops, we're not gonna release anything after it. It's not gonna get the treatment that Legacy did. It's not gonna get an animated show or a spin-off. I think this is they've put up with this
Yeah.
franchise for quite a while. They've held on to it as long as they can. If this don't work, it's gonna be dead in the water, which is I understand, but it is sad because I don't think we'll ever see anything as aesthetically pleasing as this film, with the story and
Yeah.
stuff.
No, look, like I say, it all depends on how well received the film is.
Yeah.
You know, not always. Sometimes well received films don't make money,
Mm-hmm.
but you'd like to think that if this is well received when it comes out, that Disney might go, all right, let's give it another shot because people liked that, and we want to make quality.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
one thing I'll commend them for is like Disney haven't held back with each of the Tron films. It feels like Legacy had a great cast. It brought back Jeff Bridges. They went all out on the technology. They discovered new technologies for the lights and things like that, and getting it all to work, and the CGI and the de-aging. They went all out on the film. My voice just broke then. That was embarrassing. But when it comes to obviously the third film, it feels like they're not pushing it as hard, but you got Evan Peters, you got a stacked cast, you got Jared
yeah,
Leto as the lead,
Jodie
Jeff
Turner
Bridges is
Smith.
back,
Yeah.
Gillian Anderson as well, who
Yeah.
is Otis's mum in that very cool show that we liked.
Wood.
So yeah, it's got a stacked cast, and the CGI again looks amazing. They brought in some original soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails, which from what we heard in the trailer, sounds very cyberpunk-esque. But yeah, this is just an excuse for me to talk about Tron because I really really liked the trailer and we didn't talk about it.
I'll tell you what. Let's do we'll do a good old like we did leading up to X-Men, leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll do a Tron video like that if you want.
Okay, yeah, we'll
We'll
do some effects or something. I'll
Yeah.
try see if I can do some silly effects.
I get my bike out of the garage and we'll put some blue lights behind it.
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
It won't even start. It won't even start.
But yeah, guys, what do you think? I'm quite curious. Do you know about the Tron franchise?
You hear that?
I did hear that. Do you think it's gonna survive after this? If it flops, do you think the Tron IP is gonna die? If that's the case, if it doesn't make money, do you think this one will do more than break even? Do we think it's going to be successful? I don't think it's going to be majorly successful. I think it's.
Yeah.
I hope it would do fine to warrant that this universe doesn't need to die.
Kyle, look, Hollywood keeps putting original movies out. People keep screaming for original movies. Nobody's going to see them. Novocaine made $33 million and stuff like that. So the thing is, IP is key. So even if this doesn't do well, you can guarantee in another 15 years you'll be seeing another Tron movie. So what then? 40? 40?
I mean,
41?
Yeah, the franchise is like
we'll be 41
years old.
No, we'll be 41 when we get the sequel to Ares.
I don't know. I'll have to ask
baby.
an AI bot for that.
Oh no, you'll be 42. You old fuck.
Yeah. That's depressing.
But yeah.
Right, see us out, Callum.
Right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought of the show down below. I'm Mr. Handsome. That's Mr. More Handsome. See, you thought I was going to put you down there, but I actually bigged you up. And so, yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you. Definitely going to be talking about the Daredevil season finale I've got a fun video.
Buy our merch.
We don't sell merch. But send Kyle £1 and he will, in fact, send you a picture of his ring piece. I've got a fun video that I want to do. I'm going to try and get it out this weekend, film it this weekend. Kyle won't want to do this video with me.
What's this video?
It's speculatory stuff for Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah. No.
You won't want to do that with me.
No. I
So,
don't like this. I love speculating on a certain level, but when it comes to Callum, it's like, no, you're going to spoil it for me, so I'm out.
No, I won't. It's just
Yeah,
speculating. Yeah, called Infinity War 3 years before it came out.
Yeah, literally. I know that happens in the comics, but you were like, nah, that's what they're going to do. I guarantee it's what they're going to do. They're going to fucking kill everyone. Everyone dies at the end of that film.
He's alright.
I mean, it was more believable when it was called Part 1, Part 2. When they changed it to Infinity War Endgame, I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. But it still fucking happened.
Right, go on. See us out. Get us off. I'm tired and I need...